Here's James here again. This is gonna be what if Luffy was a beast, part 3. So I haven't been uploading so much. My life's been hectic with someone with a family emergency. So yeah. Um, so let's start off with Luffy recruiting every supernova before they were one. Luffy is older in this one and set out earlier. Luffy's 17, but he's like 3 years earlier than Luffy 17. So yeah. Everyone on his crew is younger. So yeah. Now we cut to Luffy walking towards Shaki's bar with Rayleigh, as Rayleigh will talk about how he was a member of the Strides of the Roger Pirates with Roger and Shanks. So as they get to Shaki's bar, they will actually talk even more as Rayleigh asks them about hockey. Luffy says, everyone on his crew knows at least knows black hockey or observation hockey. I realized I got the orders of hockey messed up as I kept thinking, I kept thinking Iron Body was like a small version of Invisible Ornament. It was not. It's just tensing up your muscles very a lot. So yeah. Rayleigh then tells them, you should actually train. You should train more in hockey, as I can tell some the other half of you don't know hockey. The 10 original Strides, because Bentham also joined the crew, they would, know hockey. So everyone on the 10 Strides knows black hockey and observation. So, as Rayleigh said, he'll train the 10, he said he'll train 9 of them, but he wants Bentham, as he thinks, he's probably the strongest one for teaching, to teach the other 13, which would be the Supernovas. Plus Beppo, Penguin, and Shachi and Vito. So, you guys forgot, Blackbeard is on Ace's crew in this one, as Ace had poached him from the Whitebeard Pirates. And Sabo is a member of the red-haired pirates. This one, the actually supernovas there's not many supernovas, as Luffy, Ace, Sabo, and Blackbeard would be the main supernovas. So yeah. So the Strides would be training for about the next 4 days. They would, for about the next 12 days. They'd be training in hockey. Now, everyone on Luffy's crew knows black hockey at this point. Everyone. Luffy and Bentham know colored hockey. It's Bentham sparred a few of them and actually earned colored hockey through sparring with all of them. But Luffy also learned Conquerors, and he did learn how to use some slight version. He was told about the different abilities that observation could have, and Luffy's was basically his was a mixture of Katakuri's, and I forgot her name, but it was Poseidon's wife. Not Orihime. This Bleach. God. But yeah. But hers was basically sensing emotions. Katakuri's is seeing through time a bit. So Luffy's, I'm going to say, would be a mixture to see where Luffy wants his to be to see, kind of just to read your mind, basically. The point where he can actually see your movements, to the point where he can read your mind. Luffy is close to that as he mixed 2 of those observation powers. So he can sense emotions to a slight degree and see through time by 2 seconds. So yeah. He would actually spar with all the crew, as he would actually not win, but he didn't lose, as he's still standing over them all, but they're tired. And that fight was around an hour. And that day they're sparring, they're all resting after that fight. And then just announced, that Kami was kidnapped and was brought to the sale, or the auction. Luffy kind of smirked as he had an idea. He ran around raiding every ship he could. He couldn't really raid the whole ship that the Celestial Dragon came on. I'm gonna say that ship had 40 billion berries on it. Luffy could take 20 billion at most. But other ships in total, Luffy gathered around 60 billion berries. Charlos was the one that came, but Charlos has only brought 40 billion in total, plus 40 billion counting the one on his ship. Luffy has more money than Charles at this point. So yeah, Charles thinks he bought Kami until Luffy will actually outbid Charles, and Charles will say 40 billion as Luffy hits at 30. Luffy then goes to 60 billion as Luffy would win Kami. And Charles will try to approach Luffy and say, give me a mermaid. Luffy would say no, as Charles, being mad, pulls out a pistol and tries to shoot Luffy. Luffy, just using ornament, just smacks it back into Charles's body as it goes through Charles's stomach. Charles actually fall to the ground as everyone thought Luffy shot a supernova, except the ones that were watching closely. Charles's dad will pull out a shotgun as Zoro, not having any of it, just throws a 36-pound phoenix at him and slashes a hole through him. Not a hole, just slashes his chest open. His sister will try to do something as Bonnie will just put her in a headlock and age her to the point where she's like an elderly person. She's like 80 now instead of being like 30. So yeah. Bonnie would actually get a bounty increase from that, and her bounty would go to around 80 million. Someone give her 60 million. Zoro's bounty would jump to around 400 million due to the slashing up of a celestial dragon. And they had called the Marine base as an admiral as a celestial dragon was shot. And Kainu is kind of busy, so he actually has an idea, he's going to find another admiral. But he did send Aokiji and Kizaru. And Sabaody is in chaos right now, so he had to send one. And he sent Kainu sent Kizaru and Aokiji, and it takes a day for them to get there, but during that day, Kainu goes to a place and finds Fujitora. So yeah. As Aokiji and Kizaru get there, a Strat crew is waiting in the middle of Sabaody for them, as Aokiji and Kizaru have around 400 Marines behind them. And they're every rank of Marines. If you can fire a gun, you're coming with us. So yeah. And Luffy's 10 strats, counting Bentham, would, look at the admirals and say, you'll fight us. The other 13, we fighting the lower rank ones. Kid and Killer are kind of disappointed, but they agree. So yeah. The admirals and strats and the top 10 strats would go to the other strats, Sabaody, and fight. This fight would last on for 3 days, as Luffy fought both admirals, and some of them just stayed on fighting one admiral. Zoro and Sanji were mainly fighting Kizaru, as Frankie was also mainly fighting Aokiji. But yeah, the 13 strats versus the 400 Marines. They're just on the ground panting, as if that was a lot of people to fight. Smoker and Tashigi were among them. So Smoker is just holding his this baton to Law's throat, even though it's sea stone, so Law can't really use Devil Fruit. Tashigi is kind of holding a sword next to Law's throat, just knowing her and Smoker will kill them. But they don't have enough energy to fully stand, so they actually pass out. 13 other strides are actually passed out as well. Now we cut to the 10 strides fighting the admirals. Luffy, Bentham, and Robin. Luffy, Zoro, Bentham, and Robin are the last ones standing. So yeah. And Bentham is missing a leg. Kid is missing an arm due to Smoker and Tashigi. Actually, Smoker used a Devil Fruit and held Kid in place, as Tashigi slashed off his arm. And yeah. So Bentham's missing a leg, Kid's missing an arm. Luffy's arm is a little bit burnt off. Not burnt off, but if you guys remember Kiji's arm in film Z, how it's kind of burnt from Akainu? Luffy's arm looks like that due to having the skin peeled off due to ice and being burned a bit due to the light heat. So yeah. So Zoro has his eye cut in this one now. His eye has the slash on it now. And Robin has a hole in her due to in her stomach due to Kizaru stabbing her with a light sword. And Luffy just tells, Zoro, Bentham, and uh, Robin to focus on Kizaru. He'll fight Aokiji. So Aokiji has a broken jaw and a few I'm gonna say he has like a few scars or wounds on his back, similar to Lucci's. Due to Luffy's Gear Second, good to Luffy's Gear Second Gatling gun. And Kizaru, he doesn't really particularly aim like major injuries on him, but he is beat up a bit. I'm gonna say the most he has is like a slight, like a foot imprint in his stomach from Sanji. So yeah, Zoro will actually listen to Luffy as he throws a few slashes towards Kizaru, but Robin will actually just summon tons of hands to the point where Kizaru can't really escape one of them. And that would be enough hands for her to make tons of giant hands. And she made Zoro go in there with him before Kizaru can even get a grip on who's in there with him. And Bentham and Zoro were already in there as Bentham kicked him in the back with his other foot using Haki. So yeah, and Zoro just kind of kebabbed him with two swords. As Kizaru is not dead, but as Zoro stabbed him, Kizaru shot a light beam into Zoro's stomach, knocking Zoro out through pain. And Bentham was punched in the face very hard using invisible Haki. So yeah, Bentham's out cold. Zoro's out cold as well. So yeah, and he just shot Kizaru's rapid shot through some of the hands with Robin, passing out due to pain as well. But Kizaru can't really stand as he has two sword wounds through his stomach. So Kizaru effectively passed out through pain as well. Now Luffy's staring down at Aokiji. Aokiji has a broken jaw and the giant scars on his back. Now Luffy got in the same pose as you see in the picture, emitting tons of conquerors, knocking out some civilians and some marines. As Luffy yells "Advanced Gear Second," as Luffy's body will go red instead of pink. And Luffy coughed up blood as he went to that form. And Luffy just ran at Aokiji at like Kizaru levels of speed, as Kizaru couldn't even Kizaru and Luffy would probably go toe to toe with Luffy going at this speed. Luffy would clothesline Aokiji as he actually just jumps around, hitting Aokiji. And Aokiji can't really reflectively turn to ice at this point. Luffy he can't track Luffy. And Luffy started to do a Gum Gum Bazooka, but Aokiji can actually just collide his palms with Luffy's as he froze Luffy's body. Luffy is emitting enough heat to the ice to melt after about 30 seconds. This was enough to get Aokiji to kick Luffy into the air. Luffy would launch a Advanced Gear Second Gatling as Aokiji punched into the ground. And Luffy and Aokiji would actually jump across from Sabaody to the point where they're looking at each other again. They jump at each other as they're about to collide fist, and as their fists collide, Aokiji, this scale of punches is like an awakening. As Aokiji's side of the island that he was on, not the side of the island, but like the side of the town he was on, turned to ice and is now frozen and cold. They're like a miniature punk hazard. And while Luffy's is now a little humid, like with scorch marks in some places, and now it's crumbling, glass shattering, buildings are full of cracks now, and the ground is cracking beneath you. But now Luffy has his arm is burned. His frostbite. It burns due to his Gear Second, and just like burn marks, frostbite, like just broken bones, like due to all of that combined on that one arm. So Luffy would actually fall to the ground as he's just tired and can't really move anymore. As he exited Gear Second, and Aokiji can't really move anymore. So yeah, Aokiji fell over as Luffy kind of just like rolled over on his stomach and tried to crawl towards Aokiji. Aokiji sat up a bit as he's straining himself, as he's not even supposed to be able to move. As Luffy caught up to him, Luffy would grab Aokiji's head as Aokiji tried to break Luffy's arm off, or at least get it off him. But Luffy lifted up Aokiji and slammed his head on the ground, knocking him out. Luffy was running on pure adrenaline, so he's not really going to be able to do too much. So yeah, Luffy would pass out a few seconds later. And Akainu and Fujitora were kind of concerned about not getting any reports for about 3 days, So they sent over some Marines, and they would actually be in fear to actually kill the Strats as they're all passed out still. So they would actually drag Kizaru, the corpses of 400 Marines, and Aokiji's bodies back to Marineford. And Garp's gonna be impressed that his grandson can do all this. Really drag the Strats back to the Sunny. And yeah, as the crew woke up after about 2 days, like Seba Odi is like being avoided. So yeah, really would talk to them saying, oh, you guys need a new ship. There's not enough room for all of you. So yeah. And some of the pirate crews there actually admired Luffy's crew for going toe to toe with admirals. And Luffy would actually take this into consideration. He actually asked them to build a bigger ship for them. So yeah, the other guys would agree, as they actually add 11 rooms, like bedrooms. And there'd be 11 due to, so I'm gonna say they build in 10 rooms. The girls would share one room. The other 8 members of the Strat would take care of the other 8. Like actually, so I'll give you the other rooms. Nami, so there's 11. So I'm going to say there's 12 rooms. Bonnie gets her own due to her being a girl. Robin gets her own. Nami gets her own. Then we have the male list of the original Strat crew, like Frankie, Zoro, Sanji. Those guys, they'll get their own room. And then we have the other 12, the Supernovas, get like one giant room with some cool stuff in it. So yeah, that would be it. And Chopper would Chopper doesn't get his own room actually, so there's 11 rooms. Chopper goes room to room sleeping with random people in there. No, not like that. He'll just like sleep in the room with random people. So yeah. So yeah, Luffy would go and walk around, and as the ship is finished being built, and Luffy would then realize something. There's 3 of them missing, and no one has really had time to focus on who's there, as they're all tired and just slept most of the time. But that'd be Beppo, Vito, and Killer. They're missing. And Kid thought Killer was like wandering around, gathering like material for Kid's arm. His Kid's missing an arm. And that's when Kid actually started having flashbacks before he passed out. Kid was dragged away as like the Marines' bodies were collected. So Kid didn't think Killer was actually taken away, but he remembered that. And, everyone else assumes Beppo and Vito were taken with him. Luffy actually just says get ready, we have to wake up, as they all eat and drink enough to the point where they're all fully awake. Luffy would grab transponders now and make a call. He would make a call to, I'm going to say it would be Ace's crew, the Whitebeard Pirates. He'd make a call to Ace, and Ace would call the Whitebeard Pirates to help him. And then Luffy would also make a call to Shanks. And then Shanks would not agree to go rescue them, but he'd send Sabo. Let's say he'd send Sabo and Yasop. Luffy would agree to this as they all meet a few miles away from Impel Down. So Shanks would drop off Yasop and Sabo, as Usopp is 15 now, so it hasn't been 1 year, but I'm going to say Luffy picked up Usopp a few months before his birthday. So yeah, Usopp's 15 now, and Usopp would talk to his dad and everything. Yasop would give him a birthday present, which would be, I'm going to say pop greens actually. So Yasop found some pop greens after going to an island. Figures Usopp would probably shoot these, as he actually planned to meet Usopp sometime soon. So he gives Usopp some pop greens. Now it's not like a lot like he does in canon, but like 10 pop greens. So Usopp's gonna be kind of proud of these, as he says he'll have to learn to use them. So Yasop then says strong impact will activate them. So there's a hint for you. And yeah. And they're all using observation to like just track Impel Down, just figure it out. And Sanji, his observation, he actually wanted an observation ability as well. Some of it was for peeping, some of it was for battle, as it would be to see through objects. Sanji can't really do that yet, but he can make out like figures with his observation. And Sanji will actually make out not Beppo Penguin. He can make out Beppos, Killers, and Beppo, Killer, and Vitos. He can make out their figures. He tracks them out to the point where they're on boats and shipped to Marineford. He told them that, as Luffy then says, he wants to do something to Marineford, as Ace would actually arrive as well. Sabo and Luffy had just been talking for a bit, but Ace would arrive if Luffy says he has a plan for Impel Down. Sabo then says, tell me. And Ace had broken some people at Impel Down on Blackbeard's request. So Ace has the Spate Pirates, but now the Blackbeard Pirates are combined. The one person that's not on the crew originally was right now would be San Juan, and it's going to be hard to hide him. For Ace, it is. As Blackbeard then says, this is perfect. There's a giant in there called San Juan. Ace, we can get him on our crew. Ace says, all right then. This is the last person you're recruiting. Blackbeard would say, all right then. As Luffy says, all right, well, I plan to probably get him out of Impel Down. As he asks what it is, and Luffy says, destroy Impel Down. Ace would say, it's going to be hard, but we can do it. And Blackbeard also says, there's another person I want in there. Ace says, I swear to God. And Blackbeard says, this is going to be strong. Shiryu of the Rain. Everyone looks at him like he's insane, as they all know who Shiryu is. But the Ace would be like, okay then, we'll find him. So yeah, they raid Impel Down, beat up a few people, they find Ivan and the scissor guy. They get them out. They get the original Prison Break group out of Impel Down. And Ace holding a favor from Jinbei. So Jinbei isn't an escapee, but he's there at Impel Down. So yeah. And Kimo was there to stop them. But I want to say Boa Hancock actually wanted a look at some of the new recruits, as she wanted to know who Strat Luffy was. Not recruits, but she wanted to look at these guys that Luffy has on his crew. As now everyone on Luffy's crew has a bounty of at least 10 million or lower. No, 10 million or higher. Actually, I don't know why I said lower. 10 million or higher is a bounty on Luffy's crew. So yeah. She's going to be kind of disappointed with their results, but not going to care really. She thinks Luffy's the strongest person in existence due to the reports of the injuries of the crew. Well, the crew of the admirals. So yeah. Luffy followed the crew to the Impel Down, and as Beppo, Killer, and Vito were about to be executed, everyone hears a loud boom. That would be Luffy, Kid, and Beijing punching down the walls of justice, or the gates of justice. As the crew, who was the Spate Pirates, the Strap Pirates, and Yasop and Sabo would get there, everyone's going to be kind of in shock as the White Pirates are under them. And Luffy then says, we want our crew back. As he points to he points to Killer, Vito, and Beppo. Sengoku says, if you want them, come and take them. As Luffy says, alright then, as he jumps towards them, but Aokiji, being stupid, not stupid really, Akainu and Aokiji jump towards Luffy, as Luffy just says, now, as they all feel a strong quake, and that would be Whitebeard being under them with Moby Dick. And that would distract Akainu and Aokiji enough for Luffy to jump off of Aokiji's stomach and fling towards Killer. He doesn't have to jump off Aokiji's stomach and fling towards Killer, Vito, and Beppo. But Luffy actually used Conquerors to knock out Executioners as he punches away their Sea Stone using Advanced Gear 2nd. And he only used it in his arm, not his whole body. So he punched away the Sea Stone as Killer. Sorry, just whenever I say Killer, Kid is going to be an automatic thing with him, as they're always together. So Killer, Beppo, and Vito were freed. Kid was not freed, as he's already on the crew. He's on the ship. But everyone jumps away. Sengoku will try to grab them, but they feel another quake, as Whitebeard actually rises out of the water, as Aokiji will try to freeze it. Also, the giant ship that Luffy has, I forgot to talk about it, the design of it. So they have the giant rooms, plus they have the kids. They have, if you guys remember, Kid's ship has a giant dinosaur head on it. So the head of the Sunny on the front of it. That's what's going to be on the front of it, dinosaur head. Sides of it would be the heads of the Sunny. Back of it would be the goat head of the Mary. Or the sheep, whatever you want to call it. The ram. I don't care. But yeah. Then the giant like pole in the middle of it. The top of it would be Apu's speaker. Then on the side of the dinosaur head would be cannons. And then sitting on the dinosaur's head would be the voodoo doll from Hawkins' ship. So yeah. Hawkins would fling some string or some straw towards everyone, as he actually would get a new ability, which would be flinging straws and turns them to giants. And Law would save room, as he actually infuses some life into them, so they can breathe, live, and die. So yeah. So Strats actually engage in the war, as the white pirates actually start fighting with them, and so would Ace's crew. Marco will fly towards Kizaru as Kiji's jumping towards Sanji. As Kizaru's jumping towards Sanji, Marco's flying towards Kizaru. Sanji would jump onto Marco's back as they fly towards Kizaru. Marco would ask what Sanji's doing until Sanji says, him and Kizaru has some unfinished business. Marco would smirk as him and Sanji fight Kizaru. Now, Aokiji would be met with Bentham, Kid, and Killer. Bentham, Kid, Killer, and Yasop. As they all just surround Aokiji. Bentham now has a robotic leg due to Frankie and Kid. Now, Akainu is being swarmed by Beijing, Sabo, Ace, and Blackbeard. And Vito. Fujitora is being swarmed by Zoro, Hawkins, Law, Beppo, Penguin, Shachi, and Bonnie. Other shots are just fighting, like the basic Marines. Luffy is going to, as he's jumping away, he actually runs into Sengoku and Garp. At this point, Luffy's being punched around in like a kind of punching bag, as everyone is just seeing Luffy being beaten mercilessly until Whitebeard actually intervene, along with I'm going to say Chopper, Uruge, and Luffy are fighting Garp and Sengoku. And it's a losing battle, but Luffy's brute strength is actually being good help with his devil fruit. And everyone just feels Luffy's conquerors amid as tons of Marines are knocked out. So my nose. So, and Luffy actually getting a stance as Garp is now infusing some Haki into his fists. Sengoku is now full Buddha. Luffy starts infusing tons of Haki and Gear 2nd into his body, along with Gear 3rd. And he's not using Advanced Gear 2nd, as that's not in any of his Gear 4ths. Luffy will go Gear 4th, as his body is a mixture of pure muscle and now just tons of rubber. And amount of muscle he has, but actually make sure he doesn't just bounce around. As now Luffy is just kind of like, he's not like as tall as Kaido, but he's like a Curry level of tall now, with just muscle like Kaido muscle, maybe make a Curry height. So it's giant, as Luffy just says, Gear 4th, Juggernaut Man. I'm sure he just kicks the air, and he's not already in front of Garp as he punches Garp into a cannon. And Luffy, Sengoku, and Garp are now fighting. As now Luffy is probably an Admiral level with this ability, but Garp did not go down that easily as he jumps towards Luffy again. And Luffy does have the abilities of every Gear 4th ability in Juggernaut Man. As Luffy then says, Black Mamba organ, as that would be him slamming his Black Mamba into Garp multiple times. The time he's done slamming into Garp is knocked out. It just he has a lot of broken bones everywhere now. As now Luffy is running out of time to use Juggernaut Man, but Luffy will actually get bigger, as he's now around 20 feet tall. Luffy kicks himself towards Sengoku and tackles Sengoku. He slams Sengoku into the wall where the cannons are mounted, as Luffy just slamming his fist into Sengoku's body. Sengoku is just being like pummeled as some supernovas or white pirates or anyone just joins in on beating Sengoku up. Now, by the time Luffy deflates, he can't use his devil fruit. Like, he's in like the state year fourth leaves him in. Luffy just falls to the ground, not being able to use devil fruit, not even able to use haki or even move. As I'm gonna say, Marco flies, picks up Luffy, and flies away. He just flies high in the sky to the point where no one can see him, as he kind of heals Luffy's body. We're going to fast forward around a week. Not a week, probably about 6 days. That's how long Marineford was. Not in canon. In canon, it's like 12 hours. This one, there's a lot more at stake. But yeah, this time the war is more of a draw. As Luffy is just out of energy for half the war due to Juggernaut Man's strain on his body. And he did get his crew back, and no one major died. So yeah, no one major died at Marineford. I mean, that may be a disappointment, but sorry. So, ice all around them is crumbling as they're all trying to escape. Luffy turns like limping towards his ship, and that's when Kuma, he's not fully robot, but he's a robot nonetheless. So yeah, he's more of like a Frankie level of robotics right at this point. And he was on orders of Akainu to destroy the Straw Hats, as he smacks them all to different parts of the world, even their ship. He smacks it to where Luffy was going. That would be Amazon Lily. And so I'm gonna cut this part here. You guys enjoyed. I'll try to upload a lot more, but probably gonna be like a few days in gaps of videos. But I hope you guys can understand. Like, subscribe, leave personalized notifications. Have a good day.